Welcome to the Sports Showcase event on Hartford TV. I am Ray Hrues, and I am here with my broadcast partner, Janice Rhodes, and we are at Fallston High School for an early season field hockey match between the host Fallston Cougars and the visiting Patterson Mill Huskies. Fallston is coached by Jackie Cummings. This is her 6 years as a varsity coach and 11 years total, including JV. She's assisted by Becky Street, and Patterson Mill is coached by Julia DeLuca. She's a Homestead Wakefield teacher, 4th year and 3rd year coaching the field hockey varsity. She played college at DeSale University and has the college record for most games played. She's assisted by Alexis Endlich. Before we talk a little bit more about the teams and so forth, I want to welcome Janice and get her input on the game. Welcome, Janice.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction.
So what do you think about this matchup, Janice?
I'm really excited. I can't wait for the horn to blow. I'm really looking forward to watching Patterson Mill and Fallston compete. They've been longtime rivals, and it's always been a really nice, competitive, great game. So I'm very excited to see how things shake out today.
So one thing I was saying when we had them in basketball, girls basketball, we had them in girls soccer last year. These are two small 1A, 2A schools. They bounce between 1A, 2A, more often one, and they're going against teams in their own county and out that are 2, 3, 4 times as big student body as them, and yet they put so many good teams out on the field or the court.
Yeah, they sure do. I mean, they've got some really good and strong talent. This county is a great producer of field hockey talent, so I'm not surprised. I know Fallston started their season with competing against 2 regionally ranked teams, both Bel Air as well as what was it, Broadneck, I think. But at any rate, I'm sorry, Hereford, that is.
We're gonna break real quick for the national anthem, folks.
All right.
See if I can stand here behind this desk. Very nice. So, Janice, before we go on to more information about the recent history of these teams and their competitive nature with each other, why don't you go over what you think are going to be our starting lineups for today?
So Patterson Mill, looking like they are going to start with Gwen Bates on the left forward, Kylie Connors, center forward, Lucy Bates will be in the left forward position. Maddie Tunney will be the center mid. Lily Dove will be the lower mid. Ava Lampano will be on the right mid, and Patty Chase on the left mid. And then finishing out on the back line, you've got Lucy Clark as the right. Layla Clark on the right back, Kylie Wilhelm in the center back, and then of course Ava Ward on the left back. So that's Patterson Mill.
And then the tough position that I would never play, Aubrey Jenkins in the goal.
Yes, there she is.
And then what do you got here for Fallston?
So Fallston, you've got who is that?
Lily
Burns on the right forward, Sarah Drizik in the center forward, Gabby Curridon on the left forward. Sarah Gent is going to get the start at the, yes, at the center mid. Um, Yep, center mid, and then Riley Cloud, lower mid. On the right, Layla King, left, and then the left mid, you've got Cameron Barrett. And then finishing out on the back line, you've got Laurel Hahn. On the right back, Haley Meyer, the center back, and then, of course, Grace Clark on the left back.
And then we got Kaylee O'Reilly in the back in the
Malley.
goal. Malley. So, folks, I'm a person of much sports knowledge and experience. But of course, I never played or coached field hockey, so I'm going to be relying greatly on my friend Janice here. Janice and I go way back. We family knew each other when we were kids. I'm friends with her husband. I know her daughters and husband and nephews and nieces and other. So it's really great having her here. But I didn't ask her to be here because of appreciating her in that way, though I do. She is a very knowledgeable field hockey person. Played, coached. Daughters were outstanding as well as her. So I'm going to be asking Janice for a lot of questions and information. So what do you see most teams set up in the same type of lineup most of the time, Janice?
So I'd say over the past 5-6 years, actually, I've seen a lot of the high school teams setting up with a very similar format, which basically is a 3-man forward line, 3-man defensive line, and then you've got this diamond midfield where you have a high mid, a low mid, and then a right and left mid. And in this case, this competition, both teams, both Patterson Mill and Fallston, have set up in the exact same format.
So I think that looked like number 2 going down the sideline there, Layla King. Looked like she had some good moves.
Yeah, I think both teams so far in the first couple of minutes of the game are really working the ball up well. You can see on the Fallston end, they're working the ball up on the right side of the field, which is actually very strategic because, as most hockey enthusiasts know, right side of the field is your strong side. So that's the way you want to really move up the field. And then when Patterson Mill gets the ball, they're doing a really nice job of getting it out of the defensive end, outletting, and then working it up. You can see moving to the right side to her strong side of the field.
So you see a lot, like in most sports, the player there was protecting the ball with her body, but she ended up giving it up eventually. But you do have to do a lot of shielding in this game, don't you?
Yeah, a little different than soccer, though,
Right.
as far as shielding goes. In field hockey, in the past, anytime you put your body between the opponent and the ball, it was automatically a whistle, and it was called obstruction, and
Wow.
it really did not make for a nice game. I mean, the whistle was blowing all the
Yeah.
time. But nowadays, as long as the ball is moving, as long as you're moving the ball, your body can go in between.
I like
the
that
opponent.
change a lot because
Keeps
it's
the
kind
game
of
moving.
like in volleyball, they change from side outs to you can score in every point. And I like that because I have to admit, when I used to go watch my friends play field hockey, I was like, why is the whistling blowing so much? And we didn't even understand it. So you're basically saying they're going to let them play a little bit more as long as it's in the action of the game and it's reasonable.
Absolutely.
So I'm seeing some fans come in here and younger sisters, brothers, friends from the school. What you'll have happen here a lot, Janice, is as other teams' practices stop, friends will start coming out here to watch the game, but they're finishing their own practices because this is kind of an early game.
You see Riley Cloud there starting with the ball, moving it to the right, over to Layla King. A nice circle entry there.
So did you say we're playing 4 15-minute
Yes.
quarters?
Yes.
And when they have
Layla King
these
with an
fouls,
interception.
do they stop the clock on every foul, or does the clock roll?
Clock rolls.
Okay. So you saw there a kick save by our goalie, and that looks like that's probably seeing who was supposed to start in the goal here. Aubrey Jenkins. Okay. It's a good shot from the outside there.
So one of the rules as far as when the when there's a free hit taken inside the 25-yard line, the ball needs to travel at least 5 yards or be passed to a teammate 5 yards, or it can hit a defender's stick.
Oh.
As long as it's moved 5 yards before it can enter into the circle.
Okay.
If it goes straight into the circle, then it's turnover.
So the goalies are allowed to do kick saves, obviously, in this sport. If it plays off of a field player's foot, is there any kind of violation to that?
It would be, if it's a defensive foot, then it's an automatic corner. If it's an offensive foot, then it's a 16-yard coming out.
So in talking to the coaches before the game, and Janice being so vested in the sport, she knows a lot of people in the sport. One of the coaches here is one of her coaches on H2O Club Field Hockey. She probably, Janice, I'm not going to say you're as old as I am, but you're going to get to the point where people that you've coached are coaching, which is kind of a neat thing. It's nice to see the next generation giving back.
Absolutely, absolutely. Actually, it's already happening. I love it when we have our H2O alum who play at the collegiate level. In fact, a lot of our alums are at Towson University, and I have about 4 or 5 of them that come over and coach each winter our youth indoor teams. So
yeah, we just saw one of their moms here chaperoning the event as a teacher at the school, and that's Sam Aljet's mom.
There's a nice fast break there.
That's a long run in downfield, so she's going to look for a diagonal drop here, I would imagine.
It's hard to see if that was Gwen Bates or not. It's hard to see. Or if that was Ava.
Nice save on the sideline there.
Lopano.
So Ava Lopano is near and dear to my heart, as is her family. I think I just saw her sister come in and cheer her on. She swam for me since she was a little girl at Maryland Golf Swim Club, and she's just one of those kids that's an athlete, Janice, that you are glad to recruit in other sports. She's lacrosse first. She's got a, we'll look it up in a minute here, but she's got a commit already. I called a game last year, and she dominated the field. But then the coach just said she just came out here last year, picked up a stick for the first time. I think she started, and she's one of the key players this year.
There she goes. You know, you can't teach athleticism and you can't teach speed. You know, they just come with that, right? It's easy to teach stick skills.
Well, and then there's one other thing.
She's clearly a great athlete.
There's one other thing that one of my other color commentators like to bring up: sports IQ.
Yes.
Some kids just have the sports IQ. Other kids, you have to diagram every play for them and explain to them where they're going to be. Here's a nice chance here, Janice.
Yep. Oh,
nice stop on defense.
Oh,
is that the Wilhelm girl?
It sure is, Kylie Wilhelm.
Yeah, Kylie's another example. Wow, what an athlete.
She's a brick wall back there. It's very, very hard to get by her. She's got an unbelievable reach, so she can stick tackle with the best of them.
So like you, I've been around sports a while, and one of the joys, like seeing Ava here, hopefully I'll see her parents here. Kylie's father taught physical education in the county like I did, and we're friends. And he's coached her in basketball in my leagues and so forth. She's a heck of a basketball player too. She dominated the court last year when I saw her. And I would imagine she's going on to college for basketball.
Yes, Kylie, yes. She's committed to Elizabethtown, I believe, to play basketball there.
Well, I love seeing, okay, here's a good chance here. Kind of dribbled a little too far on that push.
Sarah Drizzik, I believe.
So let's see if she could save this. Hit her foot. So that was just a mishap. She meant to hit it with the backside of her stick to flick it up court, and then she missed it, stepped on the ball.
That's a good forced foul by Layla.
Well, nice backhand
that
cross.
Should do it, yep. Corner inside the circle.
So explain this corner inside the circle and what the rules are.
So it hit her foot inside the circle, so automatically it's a corner. So this is a real advantage for Fallston because you've got at least about 8 players versus 4 attack plus the goal, or I'm sorry, 4 defense plus the goal.
Yeah, you saw all the players run up to the midfield line. So they're going to do a pass here.
It's got to be stopped outside the circle, pushed inside the circle, and there you have it. Nice shot, Riley Cloud.
Wow. Yeah, the thing that I noticed there, and you can explain it better to me, is that it did not seem like the defense came out and attacked her very quickly. So did you say that was Riley?
Riley Cloud, yep. And right now she is their lead
Okay, here's
scorer.
the replay. So let's see what we think of it. Nice
Pass, nice reception, stops it outside the circle, pulls it back inside, and a clean shot right down the middle of the cage.
And I will say this for field hockey as well as soccer and lacrosse. Sometimes goalies get screened too. So, you know, you're trying to tell your players to not get in your view. I mean, obviously you want defenders to attack them, but that ball came right through clean. And the goalie didn't even move, so I don't think she saw it. But it was a nice strike, though.
Nice defensive stop there.
So in soccer, we call that a stick when you get foot to foot, you just stop them dead. Is it similar in, I mean, it's obvious a stick you're using, but that was like solid stop there. Like, you know, she cleanly jammed the ball from her own defense.
On the defensive end, you mean right now? Yeah. That's just, you know, good timing, good anticipation, and great stick positioning.
Now, is there an offsides rule in field hockey, and if so, what's the rule?
No offsides.
So you can cherry pick if you need to, one and two.
Yes, you can. Absolutely. And going back to the corner you mentioned, it didn't really appear that, you know, Patterson's Mill, we call them the DPC. It's a defensive penalty corner, or DPC for them. It didn't appear that they were coming out fast enough. Usually you have one player designated as the flyer, and their job is to fly out to wherever the ball is.
Loose ball around the goal. Yeah, I didn't see anybody attacking.
So the idea is that flyer is usually your fastest player, and you expect them to get to the top of the circle and be able to block that shot before it's taken. And you're right. Unfortunately for Patterson Mill, their flyer just wasn't able to get there.
So I've noticed so far, Janice, that Layla King is really able to get down this right sideline.
And look at that great stick work from Riley Cloud.
I mean, we say this in everything, but speed kills. And she has good stick skills, but she also looks like she has some speed.
Absolutely. Sure will.
So, yeah, I definitely, you know, you said you can't coach athleticism and this and that, and we wish we could. We just like to steal the athletes to each of our sports and say, come on and try our sport. But I mean, I recruit speed all the time, and obviously speed is vital to certain positions as well. So like a wing midi, to get down that sideline quickly and outrun people, a lot of instant offense.
Yeah, all while handling the ball.
Yes.
So, very talented player. It's good ball control there, good ball control.
Steal there. Goes down the sideline. This looks like it's nice
Number
cross,
19,
but it was
Lily
intercepted.
Burns.
So how much are you allowed to lift the ball and just scoop under it for a high, long clear?
You are, as long as it's not dangerous.
Oh, that was a good kick save, but the ball is right there. It's going to be hard to stop that.
That was great anticipation by Kaylee O'Malley.
I mean, that ball was on the 1.5 foot line, just sitting there. And but like they say in every other sport with goals.
So she has to travel the ball 5 yards before you can go into the circle now.
Oh, that's a nice cross, and she traps that clean. So they say in a lot of sports, in the scorebook, it's a 15-yard goal. Nobody knows that it was a 1.5 foot goal. And a lot of goal scorers in sports are scrappy. They're just around the goal at the right point. Is that common to field hockey too, to cleaning up those balls in the box like that?
Yeah, so we call it the scoring rebound box, which is basically there's a 7-yard, there's a dot, the stroke mark, 7 yards before the cage. So you just put a little square around that from post to post to the top of the stroke mark, and that's about the size of the scoring rebound box. And the expectation is someone takes a shot, whether it's outside of the circle or inside the circle. If the goalie touches it and it rebounds off her pads, you better be in that scoring rebound box to put it right back in.
Yeah, I always tell my kids I scored a lot more ugly goals than I ever scored pretty goals, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Now, what was the violation there when the left wing flicked that ball high in the air and it came in the box? Did somebody knock it down with their hand or something?
No, I didn't see it, but if it's if it was lifted and there was a player nearby, it might have been called dangerous.
Okay.
Great clear.
So you see the, don't know if the camera it wouldn't have that wide of a view, but you see all three defenders for Fallston standing all the way at midfield. I guess you don't want to move up much more than that in fear of a long clear and a break downfield.
So it really depends on the coach, right?
Okay.
So I would be pushing my left back up much higher.
Right.
I'd push my right back up a little higher, and then my center back. So you're almost like in an arrowhead.
So it looks like we have another
arrowhead.
goal here, so we'll have
Nice.
to catch the replay and see who that was. It seemed a little bit inevitable. We got 31 seconds here left in this period, this quarter. So we'll try to see who that was. That's one of those ones where there was a lot of people in the middle there, but they weren't quite able to get a clear on that. So we'll have to get that later and try to see who got that goal.
Okay.
We have a foul here on Patterson Mill. By the way, a few minutes ago, misplay there, giving the Fallston a chance there.
Nice clear by Kylie Wilhelm.
So was that stick-to-stick violation there?
That was a stick hack on the part of Fallston.
Okay, so we're down to the end of the period here. And at the end of one quarter, it's Fallston 2, Patterson Mill 0. And I noticed a handful of players there. I mean, obviously, Kylie Wilhelm is a good person to have in the back there, and she's anticipated some plays, and the goalkeeper has made some really good saves as well. But, I mean, I think that number 2 on Fallston, Layla King, I mean, I didn't get the chance to highlight it, but about 3 minutes ago, she just shredded the defense right down the middle. She went through 3 people and almost got a shot off.
She sure did. Fallston's doing a really nice job working the ball up the right side of the field. They're taking advantage of the weak side of Patterson Mill, and you can see Layla King over and over again. Fallston's entries into the circle have primarily been on the right side. And then once they're inside, they're either causing corners or taking shots.
So let me ask you a question, and we do this in other sports too, and I'm sure you've done this many times. You see a point where you have to switch a left and a right midi or a left and a right defender to get yourself a better matchup. Like, would you decide if you were Patterson Mill to put somebody tenacious like Ava Lopano over on that side and try to shut her down?
Yeah, so one of the things as I'm watching this game, definitely Ava Lopano is a strong talent for Patterson Mill, one of the strongest players on our team. Yet, how many ball touches has she had?
Right.
Right. So I might consider, okay, where can I put her to ensure that she's touching the ball a heck of a lot more than she is, because she's an impact player. So that might be something that Coach DeLuca is talking about right now.
And if you can't get offense out of her, you at least have to stop the other team. So right now, 2-0. We obviously don't want to average a score at this rate for Patterson Mill. Last year, the score went at this rate, but I think that not being here last year, at least Patterson Mill's in the game so far.
Yeah.
And they have chances if they can just get, they're just that one touch from getting past the defense and maybe having a breakout.
The first, 3, 4, 5 minutes of the game, it was pretty even. I mean,
Yes.
Patterson Mill was moving that ball up the right side of the field.
Well, sometimes it just takes one mistake. And like you said, the defense on that corner was not what it was up to that point. And then that one snuck up on us. They literally hit a pass from practically the 40-yard line inside the, I'm going to use the football lines here, inside the 15. And it looked like somebody couldn't get a good clear, and boom, somebody just puts in a loose ball.
Exactly.
And it can happen that quickly.
The other thing that, one of the things that Coach DeLuca was talking about before the game, we talked about strategy, and one of the things she talked about was stick-to-stick passing. Field hockey is a passing game. So when you spend a lot of time dribbling the ball, there's a high risk of getting the ball taken from you, right? So she was really focusing, or wanting the team to focus on stick-to-stick passing and making quick passes. 1 or 2 touch hockey. Touch the ball once or twice, get rid of it, make a pass.
So that was a good kick save by the goalie. And
notice Fallston, how far back they are.
yeah, that's what I was saying before, and I was a little surprised by it. To your point earlier, in soccer, if the ball is on the right side, we tell our right defender to cheat up maybe 15, 20 yards. And then our center defender stays more to the middle, and our left, the opposite side defender, stays back further. That way, if somebody does break downfield, you have a chance to cut them off. So, not sure what they're worried about for not pushing people up a little bit further. That was a nice ball. Now, Fallston's got to clear this.
All right.
Got to kind of pin him in there, don't you?
Yep.
Oops, that was a little bit too easy to clear there.
Well, the ball's finally now in, or was. Let's see if it can stay in there. I was going to say it's in Patterson Mills attacking third. Let's see what they can do with it.
What was the violation there?
I believe she called a stick hack again.
Okay, because I thought the Patterson Mill girl put herself in a good position there. She's got to get this ball to the right side to the right mid-ear attack. I will say we use a term in sports called switching fields.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say that once they get the ball from the right to the middle on Fallston's attack, if they don't have a clean shot, they're very good at just making one more pass out to the left wing for a chance there. I think we need to see a little bit more ball movement for Patterson Mill right now.
Yep.
Now, you did a drop pass there, but it's a little dangerous. She was kind of covered. Okay, that's called team defense, Coach. I would like to see the second player get in there a little bit quicker. I tell my players, we don't want to double team when it's not necessary. But when you're within 3 yards of the play and you don't have anybody else to mark, get in there.
Yep.
Strip the ball away.
Right here, she should just move with it now. Go. Good, here. Hopefully we'll see a transfer here.
That's a little dangerous back there, but they were calm about it. See what kind of chance Kylie has of getting this downfield. Nice pass. Now, don't you feel like there's a time to just strike it instead of trapping it first? And I thought there on defense, whatever you would call it in field hockey and soccer, we called it a trap, and you stop the ball first and then you hit it. I felt like a couple times recently the Patterson Mill girls try to settle the ball and then strike it, and it was a little bit pressure on them to do that.
It's
first time strikes are necessary sometimes.
It's a lot more challenging to one time
this
hit
little ball,
ball because it's very a lot of times the ball sails up in the air and then all of a sudden it's a dangerous hit and it's a turnover, and so you don't want that. So more often than not, a one touch is going to happen when the ball is not moving so fast at you.
So there's a cross, and it got to a Fallston player, gets it to the middle. Patterson Mill needs a breakout here. So
Pattersonville needs to move the ball to the right side of the field.
Yes.
Get Ava Lampano back in the game. Let her make something happen. Let's see. Here she goes.
Yeah, see, she lost it and she fought it back, but she had a violation. But, I mean, they gained 30 yards by just getting the ball to her.
Right. Here we go, too. Notice the distance, I was going to say, between the mid and then the defensive line. I mean, I think Connie Wilhelm could probably move up a little bit.
Right.
Just because we want to be outside of the circle. We don't even want to let Fallston get inside the circle before we defend them.
Yeah, there's a big...
say how we're backing up. We need to push forward.
Well, and they're also not even on the forward line. They're just... if that ball gets through, they're going to get a clear ability to stop the ball and possess it.
Great interception by Patterson Mill.
You want to have pressure on that. So that was number 11, Kylie Connors. And she has a chance here for a cross.
Nice circle entry.
It's right there.
It's there.
Right there. They get a drop. Nope.
Oh, bad luck. Hit her on the foot, so it's a...
Oh, that's a shame because...
Coming out.
She had 3 teammates coming in behind her, and I could have seen a little 4-yard drop and then a shot there if she had the time for it. So, every player required to wear a mouthpiece in field hockey?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
I'm sure there have been times in your career that you were glad you had it in, right?
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
People don't realize you can come home with a lot of bumps and bruises in field hockey too, folks. I mean, between stick strikes and the ball hitting you, I mean, just that ball coming up and hitting you in the knee would not feel good. Now, how far out do you shoot from? I mean, it's unreasonable. Like, if you're having a hard time penetrating the team's defense, would you shoot from 20 yards and hope a ball skids through, or is that too far?
So the ball has to be touched by an offensive stick inside the circle before it can count as a goal. So you can shoot from the outside, but your forwards
If it
needs to
deflects
touch
off
it.
a defender, does it count as a goal?
No. It's
Okay.
got to be touched by an offensive stick inside the circle first.
So in soccer, we have what's called a direct kick and indirect kick. And if it deflects off a defender, it can still count, but not in field hockey, folks. So you have to get it to a teammate in the box. The Fallston defensive line, we both said we'd like to see them push up more. But right now, they're a little bit closer to their forwards, whereas Patterson Mill was at least twice the distance back. Now, we did hear Fallston coach said they'd go 5 or 6 deep on the bench pretty much, but the Patterson Mill coach said that they weren't as deep and they're probably going to play their starters most of the time. It's very nice to have a deep team. Now, Janice, you coached C. Milton Wright. Did you win 2 state championships?
No, we won one. I coached a team that won the first state championship, and then C. Milton Wright won a second state championship.
Yeah, that was a little while after you left. You also made it to a final once and lost, didn't you? Or was that the other coach's regime?
That must have been someone else.
Yeah, we went and watched the game and saw it was either semifinal or final. Did you coach Kelsey Getz? Sam Aljets? It was around that era.
No, they came in. I believe Sam came in after.
Right after you, okay. Yeah, we went all the way down the Eastern Shore to support them, and it shows you the luck of the draw, folks, and you can see that in any of these games. One bad bounce, I think C. Milton Wright hit the side post like 4 times, and the goalie happened to have a dominant game. And this is one of those sports where the goalie can have a huge impact on the game if they're really an aggressive goalie who's really on. Have you ever played goalie?
No.
She says very emphatically.
It's so funny, you know. I remember when my kids were playing Parks and Rec, and I didn't have a goalie, so I made everyone had to be a goalie at least half a game. And I remember my one daughter would raise her hand. I was like, "You're going last. You go last." And turns out she's the one who ends up being a Division I goalie.
Yes.
With all kinds of accolades. So,
I remember.
you know, I guess the kid knew what she was talking about.
So we have another corner here, and it'd be interesting to see if Patterson will learn from the last mistake. That somebody should be coming out hard. They're just kind of jogging out there, and she's getting a clean strike. Nice, right into the goalie's abdomen.
So that.
And the rebound put back in.
No, that should not be a goal. Okay.
They called it one.
So the first shot always has to be 18 inches or lower.
Okay.
You could see that shot went into the net, which meant it was above the orange boards. So
here's a replay here.
unless we missed something, let's see.
So we have the first shot coming here.
First shot, you see how it's high?
Yeah, comes down, and let's see who's celebrating so we can tell who gets the goal here.
Hard to see.
Left side there, they're celebrating.
They're celebrating, but we can't see.
In a scrum, folks. So we have another goal here for Fallston and take a 3-0 lead. We got 5 minutes to go in the half. That's a strike from pretty far.
Yeah, it looked like the initial shot was high on the corner. So, but the umpire didn't call it. So the ball settled. Then another player grabbed the rebound, and then she sort of flicked it up into the net. So that's considered the second shot. And so that was okay.
So we're making another drop pass to a player who I feel is covered. So I don't know, nobody wants to play one-on-one on here on the outside with Layla King. So it seems like they're just trying to get the ball, rid of the ball when they're around her. Because she's not just good offensively, she's good at stripping the ball from the other team.
Sure.
I always told people, your best offense is good defense. So the old days of just sticking a person up front who's good offensively, that has no good defensive skills, they can get half of their opportunities for just stripping the ball back from the defense. So she's got
Fallston's putting a lot of pressure on the defense.
a nice kick save. You need to get a clear here. That was a good clear. So here we go here. We're going to have a play in from the sidelines here. And what people don't know about field hockey is you're allowed to dribble
This
it
is
in.
the reason you want your defensive line a lot further
Yes.
close.
Yes, they could have just gotten that clean. So they're doing a drop pass there. That's a lot more logical drop pass. You have a wide open player there.
That's a very good passing sequence. But there needs to be the next pass. Like that forward is wide open. I'd like to see
Another
Layla
good
King
one.
look for some passes in the deep corner to the right. Let her forward work for it. And then cross it on in.
Okay, you gotta save this. That was a stick check there, looks like. So I'm looking at number 4, Gwen Bates. She has a really tough assignment playing against Layla King over here, but she seems to be wanting to cut back each time and do an inside move or drop it. A few times I've just wondered, why doesn't she just put it down the sideline and run on the space? Is that a bad play to do?
It's just really tough to play on the left side of the field.
Okay.
It just is. She should be able to have a drop pass behind her, but in hockey, ball speed is really important,
Right?
right? So she can make a drop pass, but if the speed of the pass is not what it needs to be, then the defender has ample time to come up and grab it.
So I'm trying to see if that's 12 on the right side here for
Yeah,
Fallston.
you've got Gabby Kerrigan.
Yeah, she does a pretty good job when she gets a chance too. There was a little stick there. Need a clear here. The ball is laying right on the 4-yard line.
And we have another corner.
So this is an important part of the game here for Patterson. They're already down 3-0. You want to get to halftime, make your halftime adjustments, and see, who maybe some position changes like we talked about.
Right.
What can we do here to first stop them? And I'm not an expert of field hockey like you are, but I've said it before. My first thing would be to stop Layla King on this right side. That's where a lot of their offense is generating. There's a free shot there. There's like another score there.
Was that Sarah Drizik? Saw her throw her arms up. I can't tell.
looked
Looks
like
like
it
she's
was.
hugging everyone, so
Yes.
could be.
So we'll have to find out who got the other. Okay, let's look at this replay here. The ball's kind of loose, trying to cross it. She does a backhanded move here, get a shot from there, rebound, and it looks like
It looks like it was
24 on the left side took
Sarah.
the shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sarah was Johnny on the spot there.
Yes.
Just right place, right time. Ball came back to her, and she just put it right in. Another good inside move by Gabby Curran. Fallston's definitely getting a lot more possession now. That ball popped up in the air pretty high.
Mm-hmm. See, you're learning there. You called that corner.
So I'm still not going to pick up a whistle and coach your field hockey team, Janice. That's your job. But
Well, you called it right. The ball was, the defender tried to stop the ball,
popped
deflected up on her stick, well over the knee and into her teammate, and that caused for a dangerous call.
up. So a great friend here. Here goes a guy shot all the way from the outside. It was a good stop.
Yep.
Is that Ava again, or is that
No,
someone
that's
else?
Riley Cloud.
Okay.
Appears to be their go-to.
So I got
striker.
confused there because her and Ava both had the same aggressive defensive style, where it sounds strange to say, but you see determination in their shoulders and their body language. And you want that as a coach. You want all your players to have that.
Yeah, great athlete. Riley Cloud is an amazing player. Her stick skills, the speed of her hand and stick work is just incredible. She's committed to Slippery Rock, I believe.
So it looks like that hit the far post and popped out. So we have a 4-0 game here, folks. 2-0 in each the first and the second quarter. We'll try to get some of our goal scorers, but while we have a moment here, Janice, I wanted to go over some other information. You know, I have some here on Patterson Mill. We have a lot of lacrosse players here. So I will tell you that Gwen Bates runs track. Kylie Wilhelm, as you said, is committed to Elizabethtown for basketball. Peyton Chase plays lacrosse. Maddie Tunney plays lacrosse. Ava Lapano is going to E-line for lacrosse, and she's the SGA secretary. And she told me they call it like the senior. She's a senior class officer. And then she's contemplating trying out for the basketball team this spring. Kylie Connors is the SGA president, so that takes a big commitment. She also plays tennis and basketball. Layla Clark is a basketball player. Lily Dove lacrosse. And we have Sam Chittum. So you see a good shot of our officials. We're just walking across. We have Mackenzie Knight also out here, and she's a softball player. Ava Ward plays softball and basketball. Aubrey Jenkins plays softball and basketball. We said that Patterson Mill came in 3-0. They had a 9-0 win over Aberdeen, a 3-0 win over Elkton, and a 2-0 win over Edgewood. They were 6-7 last year, and I think they lost to Fallston in the regional playoffs. They said they played in the regular season end. So let's see if we have any information on Fallston. Do you have any extra information we can go over here?
Other than, I don't think so, actually. I mean, she shared with us last year that they were actually the 1A regional champs.
Right.
Their starting lineup is pretty healthy on the senior end. You'd think, they've got 8 starting seniors this year. So at first glance, I was like, whoa, this is great.
Yeah.
But after talking to the coach, even though they've got 8 starting seniors, only 3 of them are returning from last year, returning starters, that is. Then she finishes out her roster with a freshman, a sophomore, and a junior. So Peyton Null was the four-year starter goalie for Fallston last year, and left last year. She's playing now at St. Mary's College.
Wow.
But she was a dominant force in the Cougar cage there, and I know that they miss her. However, it appears that they've turned over the keys to a solid player in Kaylee O'Malley.
I do see here that Laurel Hahn is the SGA delegate, and Kylie O'Malley's on the senior class council, as is Harper Canatella, one of the subs. And if I didn't say it already, they were 7-8 last year. Thank you. They were 7-8 last year, and they were the 1A regional champions. And we talked to the coach before the game, and I said, of the 8 losses, how many of them were competitive? She said 7 one-goal losses. And she said it with some angst in her voice. And as a coach, that's very frustrating. But it happens. Some of them were overtime. Explain the overtime rules.
So the overtime rules consist of, and this is only for varsity games, not JV games, but varsity games, you have 2 10-minute sudden victory overtime periods. So I've seen games that go into the first 10-minute sudden victory, and about 30 seconds later, it's over. As soon as the first team scores, it's game over. But assuming that both teams remain scoreless after 2 sudden victory 10-minute overtime periods, then each team will select five players to go and take what they call shootouts. Basically, each team, they alternate one player
Is
at
it
a
a
time.
one-shot
And
strike, or is it a
it's
run at the goal that you have to shoot within 5 seconds?
They start at the 25-yard line, and they have 8 seconds to dribble and shoot.
That sounds like a lot of fun. And how often do you practice that as a coach, knowing that it's rare that you're going to have it? But is there any other violations in the game that you get the same style penalty?
Not on the shootouts.
Okay.
There is a penalty stroke that could occur during a game situation where if there's a defender that inadvertently prevents a ball from going into the cage, meaning like a player might take a shot and a defender is standing in the cage and it hits the defender in the stomach or something. Obviously, you can't use your body to stop the ball from going in the cage. So that's one example, or a breakdown foul might result in a penalty stroke as well. But yeah, shootouts are fun. I know as the mom of a goalie daughter, it was always nerve-wracking for me, but I know my daughter loved going through shootouts because she enjoyed attacking.
I'm trying to get somebody here to help us find the other 2 goal scorers. So we have Riley Clout with 1 goal and Sarah Drisick with 1. So we're trying to find out who the other 2 were. If we can get that information to you, we will. But I mean, goal scorers are important, Janice, but I'm really thinking that the right side here is just so strong for Fallston. And they're having other people score the goals, but they're getting the scoring opportunities by getting dominant possession for their team.
And just if you think about circle entries, right?
Yes.
How many circle entries has Fallston had? How many has Patterson Mill? And that is a game changer. You know, one of the things that I would love to see going into the second half, a couple of things from Patterson Mill. Number one, you hate to always use sort of what we call a big ball game where you just crush the ball out of the defensive end all the way down to the offensive end. But it works too. So Kylie Wilhelm has a heck of a hit, and more importantly, she has one unbelievable aerial. She can aerial the ball at least 50 yards, which are 2 ways to really work on getting the ball down the offensive end, and that's what Patterson Mill needs. They need to get the ball out of their defending third and into their attacking third.
So it's ironic you say that, Dennis, because I was thinking, my novice field hockey brain, there was multiple occurrences where I was thinking, why aren't they just striking the ball harder out of the defensive end? Like, yes, I know you would love to have a controlled possession and bring it under control, but at least 2 of the Fallston goals were scored on balls that possibly could have been just cleared outside of the circle. So, you know, get the ball out.
Yep. I mean, that's certainly a strategy to use. It's not.
But to follow it up, do that, but don't keep your defense sitting in on top of your goalie. We call it pushing out and clearing out in soccer. And if you do have a nice strike and you have somebody fast like Ava or the other young lady you were talking about on the right side, and they can go out there and put some pressure on the ball, pull out, push out with it.
Well, that was the second part of what I'd love to see in the second half, and that is Patterson Mill's forward line. I'd love to see them put a lot more pressure on the ball when Fallston defense has the ball, or whoever on Fallston has the ball. So
we're starting the second half here. Fallston gains possession right away.
That's good. See, good pressure from Patterson Mill. That's great. And keep going.
So they're backing up a lot to let her bring the ball down further and further. So you're coaching a team losing 4-0 where the other team has much possession. What are you telling your team at halftime to try to change things?
So as I mentioned, I mean, one of the most important thing is to get the ball out of your defensive end. And so however we can do that is what I would be advocating for. I'd look to see, I might consider, we talked about Ava perhaps not touching the ball as much as she needs to.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I might consider where can I put her strategically so that she's got a lot more ball touches.
Yes.
We know that Fallston is working the ball down the right side of the field almost exclusively. So what can you do to stop that? So
yeah, we talked about moving her over there earlier. Let's see where she is on the field. Is she out there now? It's her right there asking for a pass from her teammate. So I'm glad that you explained the rule change about shielding not being called as much as it used to be. So when I watched lacrosse, girls lacrosse, I learned about shooting space and when you can get in shooting space and when you can't. So it makes it really difficult to defend in these games. Pretty much in soccer, as long as we just don't knock people down, we're okay. Did your girls play other sports in high school, or did they mostly focus on field hockey?
So they played basketball their freshman year and ran track, I think, for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
But mainly field hockey.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, Janice's girls, they played both at Maryland?
One at Maryland, one at Delaware.
Delaware, that's what it was. And how often did they have to play each other?
They played each other twice.
Wasn't one of them in the playoffs?
Well, they both
made
started at Delaware, and then after 3 semesters, my one, Sabrina, went ahead and transferred to Maryland, and then she finished out her career at Maryland.
Were either of them there during any of their national championship games?
Yeah, so that was in 2016 is when Delaware won the national title.
Okay.
That was exciting.
Maryland has often made the Final Four, Final 8.
I was going to say the next, so 2016, Delaware won the title. 2017 and 18, Maryland went to the championship game. So 3 out of 4 years we were at the Final Four and the championship game, and it made it for an exciting college.
I always like to hear these stories
career.
like this. You know, local Hartford County kids making good, getting to be on the national level. Now here we have another corner again. So let's see how the defense works here. Coming out again. Nice pass to the left here, right back to the middle. Good block there. Still in dangerous area here.
Nice defense, very nice defense by Patterson Mill.
So I'm going to tout one of your players here, Maggie Gallagher, who played field hockey for you.
Yes.
She made it. She played Penn State lacrosse and made it to this national Final Four 3 years, and I think they won one national championship.
That's fantastic.
And girl I coached in soccer, Lindsay Sheridan, she went out for the BYU, I think it's BYU rugby team on a whim, and she made it. Started as all 4 years, and they went to the national Final Four every year. So my playing at Hartford Community College soccer doesn't sound very impressive now.
Let's see. It looks like they're coming out with the.
That's a nice strike. Oh, a deflection.
So I believe she called the initial hit a little too high.
So ironic that happened, because not to critique the officials, because that ball wasn't as high as the shot that they didn't call too high earlier. So it does matter. Now, I always say in every telecast, Janice, that I greatly respect officials and what they have to do. Is a tough job, especially in a sport like this. Have you ever had to officiate?
Coincidentally, and I live in Delaware now, and I umpire.
Nice shot from all the way out.
Very nice shot.
I think that was
again,
number 9. That looked like Riley Cloud again.
Yep.
Yes.
She's a scoring machine.
So that was the strike from the outside that I was talking about. And
she was just inside the circle, which is why it counted as a goal.
But that's a long shot for a field hockey.
16 yards.
Let's see what they I mean, do you feel like somebody should have got up on her a little bit quicker there, or she was just that open to take that shot?
I mean, here we go.
Here we go with this. A nice pass. A nice settle and strike. They're fighting for it. Comes out, and then boom. Nice hit.
I mean, Patterson Mill had pressure on her,
Yeah.
and Riley was still able to get the shot off.
That was a quick settle and strike. I mean, that was impressive how quick she did that.
Yep. She's got quick hands.
So
but to your question before, yes, I actually umpire high school games in Delaware, 2 or 3 a week. So
Okay.
I am, I understand the umpire's perspective, and I open every game when I have my little huddle with the captains, and I always tell them, I will call everything I see.
Right.
Not everything you see or the
Yes.
fans see or the
Yes.
coaches see, but everything I see.
That's
And I'm
funny.
telling you now, I won't see everything. My standard line.
Well, you know who you have to tell that to more sometime? The parents on the sideline.
Yeah.
Some of which have never played the sport, but they're experts when the game's happening, right? I used to tell my parents, and you probably did the same, I'm the only one that can talk to the officials. Don't
Yeah.
say anything.
Yep. Well, everyone knows the foot call, so it's funny. I mean, it doesn't matter whether it's Parks and Rec, high school, or even college. When
Everybody
you're
yells for it as soon as it
everybody,
happens, yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I had an assistant coach one time. He would say something every time there was an obvious foul, and I'm like, let the refs have a chance of calling it first before we complain.
Nice
Nice back. It was like a, what do you call that move? It's like a back pull. They pulled it back
Pulled
real
it
quickly.
back and then crossed it over.
Yeah.
Flat pass.
So we got a 5-0 game here midway through the third quarter, folks, and it's been a pretty good controlled game by Fallston. They just seem to have a little bit more experience with the stick skills and the passing on my part here.
Yeah, you saw what happened there. Fallston was crossing the ball. The Patterson Mill defender put her stick out. It caused the ball to deflect up high, which caused a dangerous play and therefore a corner. Let's see if Fallston sets up the same play where it's an insert to Riley Cloud and whether or not she's going to pass it. Oh, nope, they've decided to go with Layla. Nice pass to the right.
Oops, a little swing and miss there, but she had the right idea. Backhand, wow. That was a nice strike now. They're going to call it off the defender for another play.
Yeah, the umpire must have saw something we did not. I saw the initial shot, which looked to be like a great shot. Something must have happened closer to the umpire to cause that corner.
Another pass to the middle, settle, looking for a pass. Another strike. Goalie saved it, but it stayed on the 1 foot line, and now some kind of offensive violation there.
So it looks like it's going to be a defensive hit coming out.
Yeah. Now, you don't really want to pass the ball down the middle of the field like that, I would imagine, on a defensive clear. You want to get it to the outside, I would think.
Correct.
So I see Ava standing out here on the right side again. Wait a minute, is that her number 9? Or is that?
Yep, Ava.
Yeah. She doesn't seem to be getting the ball much, and I just would like to see her get the ball because the few times she's gotten it, she's really gained some space. It's a nice break out here. Overran her own ball there, but did the Fallston player to get a
Nice
little stick on it. Now, as you can see here all the way on the left side, you have 2 players wide open if you can get a quick cross all the way over. Number 16 for Fallston is doing a really good job. It's Cameron Barrett of just staying out here on the left side, hoping for a switch fields here.
Looks like it's another corner here.
In some sports, the JV plays first and then the varsity plays. So since we have a 4 o'clock varsity game, I might imagine that the JV is getting ready soon and they're going to play after them. Or do they often play a different day?
No, typically it's back to back.
Right.
Nice
shot.
Nice. That was a very nice corner play. Well executed.
So I'm trying to get the number here. Running down the middle of the field celebrating. That was such a tight shot right on the left side there, right inside the post.
Right.
Is that 11 or 12 or 19? What do we got there? 17. Here's the replay, folks. So number 17.
Okay.
So we have number 17, Haley Meyer, got that goal. And that was such a clean, low strike.
Okay.
So, so basically, 6-0 here. They've gotten 2 goals each quarter. I mean, that was a beautiful pass that came all the way across to her, but she just one time, I mean, put that in so solid.
That was a nice one touch. The ball pace coming at her was perfect for a one touch.
And you described
shot.
how hard it is to do a one touch in field hockey. To do that with such accuracy was really impressive. That might be my favorite goal today.
It sure did look pretty.
So that is a pretty goal. That is the kind you want to remember later on, you know.
Now Patterson Mill should keep working that ball. Nice, good passing.
So,
But again, you can see they're keeping the ball on the left side, so it's much more difficult to get past Fallston's defense because it's Fallston's strong side. So it's a bigger challenge. Nice transfer. She needs one more pass. Great. And
Ava has a good burst of speed is what she does
Yes.
there. She slows down, then she takes off. See what she's going to do here. She's going to do it again.
great.
Let's see if she gets across.
Circle
She
entry
does.
here.
So it hit off a leg there, unfortunately. But see, we're seeing what we were talking about.
Right.
Any chance they can get the ball out here to Ava on the right side, she's going to get a burst of speed. I could easily see Ava against a lesser opponent really taking off and getting some chances here.
Patterson Mill has an opportunity here.
So coming into the game here, Lucy Bates, Gwen Bates, Maddie Tunney all have 2 goals each. And Kimberly Lynn, Kylie Wilhelm, Peyton Chase, Ava Lapano, Kylie Connor, Sam Chittum, and Mackenzie Knight all have goals. So you can see that they've spread it out. I would think Fallston's going to be one of the top teams in the UPBAC this year. I would say traditionally Bel Air and Seamount Wright have strong teams as well.
Traditionally, yep.
How about North Hartford? They're a program that has good battles in other sports against these girls' teams. Are they traditionally a solid?
Well, they just, I understand, I believe North Hartford and C. Milton Wright had a really nice battle the other night. I believe it went into overtime.
Oh, wow.
And I think it was North Hartford that came out on top, but as I understand it, it was a very, very good competitive game. So yes, it's those rivals are still around, still exist, and really solid programs within the county.
Yeah, I think about some of the coaching gurus of the years, Janice. We obviously know about Alice Puckett and all of her success with the many state championships here at Fallston. And folks, they weren't just we won A state championships because we were a small school good team, but they were winning county championships and just had a dynasty program for a while there. I go way back to Carol Baker, I think, and Phyllis Humison with Bel Air field hockey. And I know that Pam Reich was down at Joppatown years ago, and I remember she had good lacrosse and field hockey programs for a small school. My friend Barb Waite was up at North Hartford, coached field hockey for many years, and they were always very competitive.
She actually came down to Aberdeen.
Did she?
I played under Coach Waite for
Oh, wow.
a year, I think, and Aberdeen High School had some really, really strong programs.
Nice
for-
cross there. Let's see what they finish off here. Kick saved by the goalie, still in field. Looks like they're trying to get it clear here.
You know, it's really, really tough to be in that goal cage as a goalie. Kudos to all goalies, all players that have the mindset and the courage to be in that cage. Not only from the physical standpoint of being able to stop the balls, having those balls hit at you
So
pretty hard.
we have another 2-0 quarter here, and I think our last 2 goals were scored by Riley Cloud and Sarah Drizzik or Haley Meyer. I'm going to tell you one funny Barb Waite story. A good friend of mine I taught PE with her at North Hartford Middle School. I was coaching the girls soccer team with Tom Berg, longtime soccer legend. Miss him to this day. We'd be practicing in side-by-side fields, and Barb and I goofed around as teachers and had a lot of fun. And I'd be sitting there coaching my team, and all of a sudden I see my girls break concentration, and the whole field hockey team, single file, would come and run a circle right around me. And I'd look over, and Barb would just be laughing, and she'd deliberately interrupt my practice and do stuff like that. So then I would get her back once in a while. And my girls got to know, hey, Coach Ruse, this is a good time to get Coach Wade. Because she looks like she's serious and mad over there and yelling at her players. And so she was a lot of fun. And you know, there's a lot of field hockey veterans in the area here that have put a lot of time in. And I'm so happy that you said you didn't start your club program. Who was it you said started your?
It was Natalie Magnaberger, who was had a daughter playing in the Bel Air rec program, and then was looking for something beyond Parks and Rec, and started the H2O club. She ran it for about 5-6 years, and then asked me to take over the mantle about 14-15 years ago. Of course, one of the first things I did was recruit Alice Puckett to help.
Smart.
So she was with us for about 7 years, and then Shannon Troyer, who was the former high school coach at Patterson Mill, was also one of our head coaches and spent almost about the same time, 7.
And your daughters helped, and you said you're going to try to push the program on to one of them.
Yes, after 14-15 years, I've decided to, hand the mantle over to one of my daughters, Sabrina, who is the one that played at Maryland, and she's very passionate about youth field hockey and, being an advocate for the sport. So.
And you said there's another smaller club in the county too?
Yes, there is a smaller club called Recon.
Okay. Are they in one specific area more so?
In Harford County.
Okay, kids from all over the county, okay. Yeah. And you were telling me that you get a lot of kids that play for Bel Air and C. Milton Wright and Fallston, you have some. How many schools do you think are represented out of the 10? Do you have any Hartford Tech girls? Do you get any Route 40 girls that are on the team much?
We
in
have
your program?
We have some, and every year it's a little different. But I think by and large, certainly C. Milton Wright, Fallston, Bel Air, but we have kids from all over the county.
Awesome.
Not only the county, but also into Baltimore County, into Pennsylvania, and into Delaware. So
that's great.
It's a really nice mix.
Yeah, we're very similar in that. I started a track club years ago, and I tried to get kids from all over the county, and then I started a volleyball club, and my friend, I gave it to a friend of mine, and she does a great job running it, and their kids. It's great for these kids to have some local opportunities and not have to go so far to do it. Now, is club field hockey common in Baltimore County and other counties, or do you find that?
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, very common, very common.
And how many tournaments a year do you think these club players do?
Well, it depends on the season. Every club has an indoor season. That's basically as long as the basketball, a typical basketball season. So, and it's usually 2 or 3 tournaments a month.
Wow.
And then you have the spring season, and it's the same, about 2 or 3 tournaments a month. And then summer's usually the break. And nowadays, it used to be fall was a time off, but not anymore. Now clubs are playing during the fall as well. So.
Did you see how Ava set her up for that? She backed up for her on purpose. She gave her a chance to turn around. She picked her moment when the ball was flicked a little bit further away. She got her body in the right space and just stole the ball and then drew a foul.
And she just drew another foul, too. Patterson Mill's moving the ball a little better here.
For back pass here. A little bit short on that pass.
And that's what we were talking about earlier. Ball speed is so important.
It's amazing the difference here. If she gets that pass to her, you have a triangle. You do a drop pass, you have a pass right down the sideline to Ava, and then you can move it back to the middle again. Now, how much are you going to put this ball switching fields? Like, if Ava can strike this hard enough, now it's dangerous because they're sliding over.
And also you're moving the ball to the weaker side.
Yes. So now it would go inside because there's a player in there, but she didn't quite control the ball. And that's the wrong player to give the ball up to here. She's going to do an end line run. I think she buried herself a little bit too much there. I like the way she went down deep, but she had a chance about the 4-yard line to do a diagonal drop to the middle. She just took it a little bit too far.
Absolutely. Yeah, you don't want to get too close to the baseline. And even if you end up there, you want to kick the ball out to the stroke mark, and hopefully you've got a teammate there waiting for it.
So everybody's listening to this game live. It'll be on the 23rd of September, 10 and 2 o'clock on Hartford TV. Thank you, as always, to our directors and our crew and cameramen.
There's a nice pass.
Especially the sound guy, Tim. He's amazing. And so it's funny because I always joke how these ladies and gentlemen can get these such good shots, and I can't even take a still photo of my family without cutting off heads and stuff. So sometimes they're way out there. We did a game at Aberdeen High School, and one of our cameramen, Tom, he was on the top bleacher of the football stadium in right field filming for us. In the cold weather sometimes, folks. We have a beautiful day right now. This
Got
is
Haley Meyer taking the insertion there.
Now she's going to put it right back to the left side.
To Layla. Back to the top to Riley.
She
One
took a
touch
one-time
hit.
strike, yes. Need to get a clear here. There's another
Look at
violation.
Fallston, how well they frame the scoring rebound box. They're all in there. Good pass. That's actually a really nice pass.
So we were here 2 weeks ago for a football game, and it was beautiful. This is perfect sport weather here, Janice. I mean,
yes.
So there goes Ava all the way down the right side. Nice strike. If that gets through, you could have your first close shot for Patterson Mill. Looking for a little back pass there. Just missed it slightly.
She's got the right idea.
So we got a turnover to the back here, and let's see how quickly Fallston can break down this sideline.
That was an exciting run for Patterson Mill.
Yeah.
Would have been really nice to see them capitalize on it.
Now, you definitely put different players in different positions to emphasize their strengths. And obviously, Ava has the speed down the right sideline, just like we've been talking about Layla King on their right side. But is there a time that you just need to consider moving that person to the middle so they're more involved with the game?
Again, every coach has their own strategy. I certainly would want to do that, but
talk about that spine of your lineup there.
Yeah, down the spine. They both, you know, when I talked to them before the game, they talked a lot about how the strength of the spine of their formation there. They had really strong players down the middle of the field, and you want that because you want that spine to be able to transfer the ball either right or left, or transition the ball from your your defensive end to your offensive end.
So this is another reason, folks, I pick smart friends and coaches like Janice to work with me because I'm learning a lot about the game. It's funny the different terminology in soccer. I call that the backwards T, but it was the same philosophy. You had a really good center midi, and like you said in this lineup, the diamond midfield is really common in soccer. So I would have a great two center middies, a great sweeper in the back on defense, and a stopper, because that is the spine of your team. Now here we got a nice pass right to the middle here again. Lifted that ball really high, but they didn't call that dangerous at first.
So that's an interesting, and as an umpire, that's a judgmental call. It's a judgment call rather, and you know, certainly in this case, the umpire thought that was not a dangerous shot. When it comes to taking a shot on a corner, if you hit the ball has to be 18 inches or lower, and that's the purpose of that box at the bottom of the cage. But if you flick the ball or lift the ball, it doesn't have to be 18 inches. It can be higher. And in this case, because Riley Cloud, her initial shot was a flick, she let that go.
So that was interesting. That ball flicked up, and then she tapped it back up in the air again.
Yeah, some umpires might call that dangerous because it was high and the opponent was very close by, but other umpires may not consider that as
So I'd
dangerous.
imagine part of this rule is they don't want anybody swinging at a ball in the air, and it's dangerous for the stick play to happen above the waist. I'm sure you've had a stick in the teeth before and a ball in the middle of your forehead.
Oh yes, not fun.
I always joked that back in middle school when we played middle school PE field hockey, there's a reason people need to be good at field hockey, because the worse they are, the more dangerous the stick play was. And I could definitely see where you would get hit with, especially if you played a weaker team and their defensive skills weren't as controlled, you know. Now, are they all wearing shin pads of some sort or not usually?
Yes, they're all wearing shin guards.
They just seem like they're much thinner and smaller than I would think they would be, but with the new technology, it's probably just as effective.
Yeah, it's made out of hard plastic. I mean,
Right.
they're pretty
I don't know if
resilient.
you remember the old big bulky shin pads we had in soccer. They were way too big, and now they make thinner, more controlled ones. They're not as cumbersome, is a good way I would say it, to wear.
Right.
But all the stuff that these goalies have to wear in field hockey, wow. They must feel like they have 20 pounds hanging on them.
I'm amazed that lacrosse goalies don't have that much
Right.
padding to protect them.
So we have a little play out here on the left
Nice
side. She's
passing
wide open,
sequence.
but I think she would want to get this to the right side. There it
it
is. One more.
Yes. Well,
Nice steal.
Ah,
Needed a little
very
bit more
good. Yep,
speed on
yep,
that pass.
Yep. But that was a great passing sequence. You had 4 or 5 passes there from Patterson Mill. And when we talked to Coach DeLuca before the game, that was her strategy. She said they needed to really work on their stick-to-stick passing. And we just saw a little bit of that.
So we have 5 minutes and 50 seconds left in the game here, and this is the only quarter so far that Patterson Mill, I don't want to jinx them, has been able to hold them out of the net. They seem a little more aggressive this quarter. But I also don't know if Fallston put many subs in. So with a 6-0 lead, at what point do you start giving some of your bench some playing time? I don't know what your philosophy is, Janice. Different coaches have different philosophy on when a certain size lead is enough of a lead to feel comfortable getting players in the game.
Yeah, it's certainly a personal decision, but I certainly would be looking to keep fresh legs out there. I mean,
Yeah. You're not just thinking about decency of getting subs in, decency of not running up the score, but you're also thinking about saving legs, injuries. Like I see some coaches, they're winning a game 48-0 in football. They're winning a game 23-0 in the third game of a volleyball match, and they're still not putting subs in. And I feel like you're not only doing your starters a disservice by risking injury, but you got to get your bench some experience.
Well,
Some players can go down.
Exactly. I mean, practice is practice, but there's no replacement for game-like situations.
Yes.
So you can be the best practice player, but until you really get game time,
Yep.
you're not really
And you want to get them
don't
over
really
those
know how they're gonna-
nerves. You want to get them over those jitters. You don't want to have to put them in a playoff game with very little experience.
Exactly.
Nice switch fields. If she can get this up the sideline to Ava. Ava, let's see if she does her thing again. Burst of speed again. She just runs away from people. Now, I know
She
you like
should-
the right side, but the left side's wide open.
The circle entry.
If it gets
There
there.
we go. Foot. There's a corner.
Okay.
Great job, Patterson Mill.
Is this their first corner or second? I'm trying to remember.
I'm not 100% sure.
But I don't recall much, so let's see how they play theirs. It'd be interesting to see. Now, the way you see them set up here, is this traditional that you just put the players evenly spread around the
Well, yes.
circle?
Well, yes and no. But you can see the center back, Kylie Wilhelm, has now taken her place at the top of the circle. So they brought her in. She's got an amazing shot. Let's see if we're going to have the opportunity to see it in action.
Good defense. They stole it.
So I'm a little surprised that there was no call there. There should never be body contact. And you could see that Fallston's defender was on her body a lot, which prevented her from. And that's an equipment foul right there.
So we have a ball that got through here. If she can get us across one more. Now his teammates kind
There's
of
a
fought
shot.
over that.
Whoa.
It's a high ball coming out. So let's see what they called there. So we have a rule in soccer where it's called possession. So if it's going good in your favor, they won't call the foul right away.
Right,
So
holding advantage.
it looked like they were waiting to see what would happen there if the player that was back on the outside of the circle would gather that, bring it in. But when they didn't and Fallston got it, they called the corner.
So you can see the umpires conferring, so something must be going on. I believe the goalie, when she cleared the ball, it was high. It hit one of the Patterson Mill players, so I thought he was calling a corner based on that dangerous clear. However, again, the other umpire is asking for a conference, and now they're explaining. So he is explaining what he called and what he saw, and she's providing her input. So we'll see if the corner stands, and it looks like it will stand.
Yeah, they stopped the clock and now they've started it again. I'm not sure why they would stop it first and then roll, but official time is usually the officials.
So
right?
when umpires confer, you're supposed to stop a clock.
Okay.
They conference, and then they separate, and then they're supposed to start the clock when the whistle blows again.
That's what they needed. Nice
There's a shot.
Nice kick save by the goalie. Kind of came out behind her, and she was able to find it.
Exactly. She
So
had a defender behind her, which was great.
nice hesitation move and then take off again.
I'd like to see Patterson Mill get a few more of those opportunities. That was a well-executed corner play. And they read, take a look at what happened during the first corner. The flyer was out on Kylie Wilhelm quickly. So what did they do the second quarter? They adjusted. They made it. They made a pass to Kylie instead, and then she had the clear shot.
So I will say that I feel like Patterson Mill is learning as they're playing here. So we're literally talking about first 4 or 5 minutes of the game, to your point earlier, was close. And then, boom, boom, 2 goals. Another 2 in the second quarter. But I feel like Patterson Mill's played a much better second half than first half.
I would agree.
Coming through.
The goalie was completely out of the cage. That was an opportunity.
Yeah. So I've seen them throwing face masks in the defensive back there. Are you required to put a mask or a helmet on when you're in that back end on the corners?
You don't have to, but if you're smart, you will.
Okay, so I saw the 3 defensive players for Fallston put them on. As soon as they were cleared the ball, they threw them behind the goal.
Right, you either have to throw them behind the goal or over the end line or the sideline.
Okay, so
There's-
we have another corner coming here.
And that was a foot foul. And so another corner for Fallston.
So that is the game. They did not get it off. So is
So-
it still extra time here?
So here's a new,
That's the end of the game.
oh, well, okay, well, for future reference, usually if it's not the end of the game and there's a corner and the time has elapsed, you
Right.
still play the corner out.
Right. So I have 4 of the goal scorers, but I don't have the other 2, and I'm not exactly sure who they were, but to our defense, they were in scrums, and even the good TV replay, we could not find the numbers. But I mean, I have the goal scorers as Riley Cloud with 2, and Sarah Jerzyk with 1, and Helly Meyer with 1. But I feel like Patterson Mill has more potential than the score showed. They just seem like a little bit less experienced. And even though they said they had some returning players, they don't have the club player experience that Fallston has. But I think Fallston moved up to 2A, and I think Patterson Mill is still 1A. So I still think Patterson Mill could be a player in the playoffs for 1A regionals.
Honestly, if Patterson Mill played if they played the first 3 quarters the way they played the fourth quarter, it would have
Yes.
been a different game.
Yes.
Might not have been a different outcome, but it would have been a much more competitive game than we saw the first 3 quarters. It was just Fallston dominated. Their stick work was great. Their strategy working the ball up to the right side of the field was great. It was very, very difficult to stop Layla King.
Yes.
Riley Cloud is just a beast on the corner shots, and as you can see, that there's a reason why she is their top scorer Their circle entries compared to Patterson Mills was just very a big difference between the two. So I think in today's case, it just a little more talented team.
Yes.
With regard to Fallston, their stick work, and the way they played that game.
Well, I think the Pattersonville coaches will be somewhat pleased because they said one of the coaches said they thought at least one of their losses last year was double digits. And that means they were really dominated from the get-go and probably until Fallston pulled off the reins. Patterson Mill was in the game even though they were giving up 2 goals each of the first 2 quarters. They have some talent here. I really liked when they could get the ball to the right side to Ava Lopano, and you mentioned another girl that they were able to get the ball on the right side to that was doing well. Was it
on the right side, Gwen Bates?
Yes, and then Kylie had her hands full back there. I want to give a little bit of props to her goalie, though, because Aubrey Jenkins, I mean, she gave up 6 goals, but, I don't think any of them were her fault. I mean, they were all really good shots in close and for the occasions, at least.
They really were. And quite honestly, if you think about how many corners Fallston had, I mean, Patterson's defensive unit was great. I mean, they played a really good defensive game.
Mm-hmm.
They came up big on a lot of stops. I mean, again, a lot of circle entries for Fallston and Patterson Mill, I thought, did as best they could. I would have liked to see Kylie Wilhelm and do a lot, have a lot more touches and see a lot more big balls and see more aerials out of her, because she can do them and she can do them very, very well.
If they could find somebody to play her back spot, I could see her as a defensive midfielder and really dominating the game. And I could see Ava in that area too, but she is very good on the right side. Well, before I wrap it up, I wanted to thank you very much, Janice, for being here.
Oh, you're welcome. This was excellent. I had a really good time. It was fun watching Harford County High School matchup, especially Fallston and Patterson Mill, 2 teams that I used to dread having to play as a coach at C. Milton Wright, because they were always highly competitive games. That was back in the day when Linnea Gonzalez was on the Patterson Mill team. So, I have fond memories of very competitive games against both teams.
Well, the final score here, folks, was 6-0 for Fallston High School. Fallston moves to 1-2, and I think we see a lot more wins coming for them soon. Patterson Mill moves to 3-1. Been enjoyable to have you all here listening to the game and watching. Stay tuned for our next Harford TV telecast. Thank you. Thank you.